If cutting fingers were enough, Grady'd still be alive, wouldn't he?
Well, what then? Take out an eye?
An eye? I don't know. One eye a guy can still see. Still get a driver's license even. Both eyes, maybe. That'd be a good start.
So we see that Avery Markham is a very serious man who has no tolerance for disloyalty. At the same time, we learn that he was involved with Grady, who was Catherine's ex-husband who died in prison, and was arrested, old Dixie Mafia, and he fled when Grady got arrested because he was pretty sure whoever flipped on Grady was going to flip on him. So he took off, and Catherine says she doesn't hold that against him. She knew that he did that, and she's glad he did it because he didn't end up in jail. And he went and he made his fortune growing and selling pot in Colorado. And now he's back in Kentucky and trying to make some of his old connections back, and very happy to see Catherine still around. He says both eyes, maybe that'd be a good start, which is pretty ruthless. But I do like his philosophy because I always think about the why don't you overpay your henchmen problem when it comes to criminals, right?
Yeah.
Criminals are so greedy. There's so much money to go around. I think about Walter White and his giant pile of money that he had, right? He could have spread that wealth around a little bit more. He could have let the dealers keep some of it. He could have, spread it around and paid Mike's guys and all that. But he didn't. He was too greedy, and that's what eventually brought about his downfall. And it feels like ultimately greed is what always brings about these guys' end.
Well, especially if the people can see how much money he has coming in,
mm-hmm.
and they're like, okay, well, buying loyalty. I guess that's the trick. I guess that's his philosophy. So I don't know. I kind of agree with him.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, it's like, yeah,
if you don't have Omerta, at least, right? If you don't have that, because like you think about The Sopranos, you see Tony, lives in this giant, gorgeous house with a pool, and Paulie Walnuts lives in like this crappy little 1-bedroom apartment, right? Yeah, and you wonder like, why is that okay when Paulie's out there the one doing all the work? But there's a code, right? Tony's the boss, Paulie is not. They took an oath. And that's the thing, right? There's honor sort of in that organization. But outside of that organization, man, I think you got to overpay.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about regular employees. If you're not criminals, overpay them. Get loyalty. They're going to work harder for you. They're going to be better employees. They're going to talk better about your business. You're going to get better results. Don't nickel and dime them.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, speaking of Paulie, because you're right, because it doesn't seem like he was like living high off the hog, at least like, but he was a single guy though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, he drives a Cadillac, but but besides that.
Yeah.
I always wondered about that. Even Chris Moltisanti is the same thing, right? I mean, eventually he bought the distressed Maserati and the giant house from Ginny Sack after in the forced sale, but that was at a bargain basement rate because of a deal Tony brokered. So
huh.
Anyway, so we find out who Avery Markham is, and that he's a dangerous new player, and we don't know exactly what his deal is yet. But we'll find out soon enough.
Do you think he was banging Catherine while Grady was married?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because in the beginning of that conversation, he says something to the effect of, "Oh, we should have been doing this the last 14 years," and she says, "Oh, but you left town," and he says, "But I had to because whoever flipped on Grady was going to flip on me." I'm 99% certain they had taken up before.
Oh yeah.
Before he left.
Before he got sent off.
Yep. Yep. So, Okay, so what else is going on here? We've got Ava. She meets with Raylan and shows him the ledgers. And Raylan thinks it could be a trap. That Boyd is trying to feel her out and see if she is an informant, and gives them back to Ava because he thinks that they don't have much value. Gives them back and tells her to put them back in the barn. Put him back where she found him. And she loses her mind, right? She's like, I go out on a limb to get this for you, and now you're telling me to put him back? Like, what the hell's going on, Raylan? And plus, she's worried that Boyd might be onto her. So it's a double whammy for her. Yeah. And so when she does get back to give Boyd the ledgers, he's already there. He's there. He's looking very angry on her front stoop, asks her where it is. And she says, hey, I took it because I don't want to go back to prison. I don't know what this is. I don't know why you have it. I assume it's related to the bank robbery that happened the other day, but you don't tell me anything. So how the hell am I supposed to know? And she gives him the ledgers back, and I don't know. He sort of buys it. I'm not sure he bought it entirely, but he sort of buys it, I think. And then takes the ledgers and goes back. But in between there, he calls Calhoun to tell Calhoun, hey, I have your ledgers. I want money to give them back to you. And it's a great thing because Calhoun's there and he answers the phone and Walker is listening. And so he can't really talk. He's not free to talk. And Boyd picks up on that almost immediately and says, what does he say? He says, okay, I'll be brief then. And then he starts his story with, I was out on my morning constitutional.
It's hilarious. It's so good.
It's like just a story. I'm going to spin a yarn for you. But after I tell you, I'm going to be quick. So he makes a deal with Calhoun that I'm going to come by your place later, your office, and I'm going to drop off this stuff, and you're going to have a big bucket of cash for me. And that's how you're going to get your stuff back. And if you don't have a big bucket of cash, it's going to be a problem. Well, Calhoun's getting ready to meet Boyd, but he's meeting with a prostitute friend of his first. He needs to get, it might be, as he says, it might be his last day on Earth. Who wants to go out without getting a blowy first? And I bet that one costs more than $6, by the way. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
So Raylan walks in while she's under the desk. And Calhoun is unhappy with Raylan, but we get a little bit of the story here. So I have a clip of that as well.
God damn it, Raylan, we're closed. Didn't you see the sign?
Oh, I must have missed it. Oh, I don't believe I've met Mrs. Schreier.
Ew, gross. Sorry.
Peg you as the pay-to-play type, Calhoun, especially at 6 p.m. on a weekday. Deputy U.S. Marshal Raylan Givens. It's okay, ma'am. You're free to go. Not you, Calhoun. You sit your ass right there. Only the truth will set you free.
I can't, Raylan.
I know you lied to me. I know about the deeds and ledger.
You should just tell him he can help you.
Excuse me, what?
Do you want me to do it?
I would love that.
He has been buying property for a group of guys, which seemed innocent enough until he realized they're bad guys.
Chasing easy money, best way to end up over your head.
Yeah, no shit, right? So he started writing down everything he could remember, like account numbers and amounts to protect himself.
We're talking about ledger?
Yes, the blackmail ledger, which now he's being blackmailed for. But if the bad guys find out that it exists, they're gonna kill him.
What does the blackmailer want?
I don't know.
Cash they're using to buy up all this property.
And where's it at?
I'll meet Walker. He gives me the cash.
This blackmailer, he got a long-winded, peculiar way of speaking.
Boyd just telling on himself by his the way he talks.
Well, that's the second time this episode that there was like the character just like gushes, like spews, like all the basically what's happening.
Oh yeah, because
Choo-Choo
does it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Calhoun ostensibly is smarter than Choo-Choo, but maybe not. He's a real estate agent after all.
And also it's funny that the prostitute or the hooker is like, oh, you don't want to get over your head.
Chasing easy money, the easiest way to get it over your head. She's like, duh. Can't be in this business and not know that. I do. I love that little interaction. It's just great. There's so much going on there. It's a lot of fun. And when he calls her Mrs. Schreier, and she goes, ew. And then sorry. So presumably her, actually, we know it's her Tuesday night regular client, Calhoun Schreier.
That's right.
So, yeah. So Raylan now knows basically everything. He knows that he's got these blackmail ledgers and deeds. That Boyd has those in his possession. That Boyd doesn't really know what they are, because if he did know what they are, he wouldn't be blackmailing Calhoun with them. And that Boyd is coming to his office in about an hour to drop off those documents and get some money in exchange. And that's our last clip for this episode, is the exchange between Raylan and Boyd when Boyd rolls up with the documents.
Fancy seeing you here.
I've never been entirely certain what that phrase is supposed to denote. Does it mean this gathering here must be fancy because you're present? Or is it simply an expression of surprise at such a random meeting between two friends or acquaintances?
Jesus, Boyd, I was just saying hello.
Was that why you here, Raylan? Say hello to me.
Actually, I'm here to see Calhoun.
Well, you finally selling Arlo's place, huh?
On account I've been transferred off to Florida.
Raylan Givens' father, what is the world coming to? Try and raise that baby girl of yours up right.
Better than we were, anyway.
Well, what say I make you an offer on Arlo's place right this minute? Help get you on your way.
You got that kind of cash, Boyd?
Oh, I'm fixing to, soon.
How's that? You gonna rob a bank, too? Apparently First River was hit yesterday. Calhoun just left me a message. Said some of his things were taken. Why he's not gonna make it over here.
Well, that is news to me.
Sounded pretty shook up about it. Being blackmailed over the return of his things. I guess he's talking to the cops right now as we speak. But here I am, being rude. I haven't even asked you what you're doing here.
Oh, well, the funniest thing, I stopped off down at the depot this morning to get a cup of coffee. Found some items lying on the side of the road I believe belonged to our mutual friend. I took it upon myself to ensure their safe return.
Mighty Christian of you.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm just following my instincts. Kind of like a higher power slipping you a word. I just run with it. You see, Raylan, I've learned to think without arguing with myself.
Well, I slip a Glock in my holster every morning. So when you hand me them items, do it slow, or I'll shoot you.
I think I'll just come back tomorrow.
Or you can give them to me if you want.
Why not? Save me the trip. I'd say I'll see you around, but it sounds like you won't be for very long.
Probably not.
Does it change you?
What's that?
Having a child. They say it changes a man. You think that's true?
Guess we'll see, won't we?
It's a great little interaction there between Raylan and Boyd. And I always wonder, like, does Boyd know the minute he sees Raylan that he's sunk? Or does he not figure it out until Raylan mentions the bank robbery? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I like that I can't figure it out because, because Boyd is the kind of guy who would have just enough hubris to think that he could still, even though Raylan's there, interfering in his plans yet again, that he could still potentially pull this thing off.
Yeah, it's almost like Batman and the Joker sort of thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's I like to think of it as the Coyote and the Roadrunner, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's except the inverse of the Coyote and the Roadrunner, right? The guy who's doing the chasing is the one who always does the catching, as opposed to the one who's running away. So, but we've also got this, of course.
You use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
You knew that I wasn't going to allow Fancy Seeing You Here to go without a little bit of